Well, in the first segment, we talked about what an agency on aging is. See, it was a AAA. Let's go back to that.
AAA.
Okay? We talked about what a AAA is. Let's talk about aging and in-home services specifically in depth. So what makes aging and in-home services unique?
So we do things a little bit differently. We have a great leadership team. Back in 2011, we hired our current president and CEO, Connie Benton-Wolf, and she kind of changed everything that we were doing in the positive way.
Yes.
So she has a very extensive career in the aging industry, both on national and local levels. So when she came in, she really wanted to address those gaps. And when she came here, she saw a gap being between what happens in the hospital and what happens at home. And I think that now, as we get familiar, especially with COVID,
yes,
we all know that health really happens in the home. And so she really made a set of strategic priorities with the other members of the leadership team and our board of directors to address social determinants of health. We've talked about this a while ago, so we're going to talk about it again. So social determinants of health, those are what happens in your home, in your community, and where you reside. So when I'm talking about social determinants of health, I'm talking about environmental factors. So where you work, live, play. So some examples of that are you safe? Do you live in a safe house? Do you live in a safe community? Is there any discrimination going on? How was your education? Did you have an education? Did you make it through elementary school, middle school, high school? What does your income look like? And what does your access to services or a grocery store look like? And another key point in the social determinants of health, our key part in the social determinants of health, is that piece of literacy. We've talked about health literacy before. We've talked about, obviously, literacy means one thing, your ability to read and write, but it also means, how do you understand? So I can go to the doctor, and we can go to the doctor together. Wouldn't happen, but if we did,
it'd be weird.
We could hear completely different things because of how we're accepting that information. So those all play a really big key role in what our health outcomes look like on a daily basis.
Sure.
So what she did was she really fixated on that person-centered approach. And what we've learned through our work is that if the person that we're serving, our client, isn't on board for X, Y, and Z will never happen. So we switched to a model of person-centered care. So in all of our care plans, in all of our case management services, anything that we do for you, you're at the forefront. So we're talking about care plan creation, care plan management. It's all about the person who we are serving, which makes things a little bit different, and it also makes things more positive and better outcomes, because when you're cheering for yourself, you're going to be more involved. And so that's kind of what we have switched our approach to. It's really about identifying your goals, what you want, what you are not focusing on, but what is the long-term goal that you want. And a lot of people that we have come across really just want to stay at home. They want to age in place, they want to be at home, and our job is to make sure that they're able to do that safely.
Well, I have heard it said before, no one cares about your success more than you do.
Absolutely.
Whether that's with your health or with your career, you have to be your advocate.
Absolutely.
Because you are your biggest cheerleader. I mean, you have to be. So it makes sense that person-driven, person-centered care would help.
Make a difference.
It would make a difference. But I can see where that would really change how you do your work.
Absolutely. And I think that that's something, so not only in our own care management plans, but we've grown great partnerships. So back 10 some years ago, we were working really closely with Parkview Health on a care transitions plan, because like I said, I could hear something, you could hear something. While together we might have the same information, apart we're useless. So when someone gets discharged from a hospital, and if they don't understand that discharge paperwork, what's going to happen? Are they going to be readmitted? What does that look like? Do they have food at home? Do they have someone who can cook it? Do they have someone who can clean? Those different things, while you don't have to have the most immaculate conditions of everything. But if you're missing nutrition, if you're missing hygiene, those things will have a detrimental effect on your overall health.
And you will end up back in the hospital.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I would say that's got to be the biggest determinant of that bounce back, is if somebody doesn't understand their discharge.
Those medications.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all different. You're sick. You're in the hospital for a reason. You're ill. You're clearly not your 100%. You go home when what? You don't go home 100%. You go home maybe with stitches, maybe with some new medication. You're not 100% yet. So you've got to really have that either person, or you have to understand it.
It would be challenging. Okay, so I want to talk about the impact that you guys have in our community. We will talk about the impact of aging and in-home services when we come back.